Most people die on a random Tuesday while doing normal things, convinced they'll be home for dinner. Maybe it is an accident, or their heart suddenly gives up. They snap out of reality and into oblivion, while the rest of the world carries on as if nothing happened. You assume there's always a tomorrow. Only occasionally does the thought cross your mind. Is today going to be the day when it finally happens? And now, imagine you who bypassed that biological deadline. You with infinite time to create, to wander, and to learn, all without the pressure of a ticking clock. You, if living forever was possible. You'd probably say it's nonsense, except, surprisingly enough, it is already a future we're actively building, right now. The only real question is, when? When will we step beyond the limitations of the human body and achieve immortality? By the end of this video, you will have the answer. When people in Silicon Valley talk about uploading into the cloud, they actually mean it quite literally. Tech culture is built around a simple belief: if something can be measured, it can be replicated. In this view, your brain is simply a biological machine, a processor. Neurons fire, patterns form, and those patterns give rise to your thoughts, memories, and personality. All of this ultimately being information. And if information can be stored and uploaded to the cloud, so can you. For Silicon Valley, the idea of mind uploading has already shifted from science fiction to an engineering challenge. Think about it. No one spends billions of dollars on brain research and advanced neural technology without expecting a return on investment. The projects we are talking about aren't hypothetical. They are currently some of the best-funded ventures on Earth. The people backing them aren't usually looking to save humanity in the abstract. They see death as an engineering problem they intend to solve for themselves. In their view, if biology is just hardware, then eventually it can be upgraded. That is the soil where the concept of mind uploading grows. The pieces of the puzzle are already being laid out. Companies like Neuralink are building brain-computer interfaces, allowing the mind to extend into the machine in real time. Initiatives like the Allen Institute for Brain Science and the Human Brain Project have mapped the brain's architecture in staggering detail. Companies like Nectome are preserving brain tissue at death, believing that it might allow future technology to read and reconstruct it. Alone, these are impressive feats of engineering. Together, they represent the first steps toward our possible digital reality. And then, there is a new and unsettling direction: organoid intelligence. Scientists have learned to grow tiny clusters of human neurons in laboratory dishes. These aren't full brains, but they are living neural tissue able to form connections. In recent experiments, researchers connected them to electrodes and taught these mini-brains to perform simple tasks like playing Pong. Are organoids conscious? We don't know. If intelligence and learning can arise even in a tiny piece of living brain tissue, then the appearance of consciousness might not require a whole person. Now, none of these projects openly talk about immortality. None of them have proven yet that a fully conscious mind can survive outside a body. But taken together, they reinforce a powerful assumption. If we can already simulate networks of neurons and connect brains to machines, then scaling this up is no longer a question of if. It's a question of when. You don't map a brain at the synapse level detail unless you believe that, in principle, a conscious mind one day can run on a machine. But what exactly is a mind? It's definitely not a control room inside your head where you sit and steer the body. It is not an object or a place. It is a process which works like a prediction system. Your brain is always guessing what you're about to see, what your body is about to feel, or what will happen if you move your hand. It compares those guesses to reality and adjusts itself in real time. Inside that constant loop of prediction and correction, your brain is also maintaining a complete model of you, your body, your perspective, your sense of agency. It keeps track of what you caused, what are your intentions, and where you are located in the world. That ongoing modeling process is what gives rise to the feeling of self. Consciousness seems to have some kind of frame rate. Our neurons need time to fire, reset, and communicate. Compare it to a movie. It feels like a continuous flow of motion, but it's actually just 24 still images flashing every second. The frame rate of our consciousness is roughly 13 to 100 milliseconds. This is the speed at which our perception of self is being updated. It is not located in a specific area. It exists in the patterns of activity spread across the entire brain. We know this for sure because when these patterns break down, our sense of self distorts or disappears. Under deep anesthesia, the consciousness vanishes entirely. In certain brain injuries, it can dramatically shift in terms of personality and identity. All of this points to the solid conclusion: consciousness is something the brain is doing and not something it is. Scientists often call this emergence. A single water molecule isn't wet. Wetness is something that only happens when billions of molecules interact. A single car isn't a traffic jam. A jam is a behavior that emerges when hundreds of cars are in the same place at the same time. Many complex systems can produce new emergent behavior, and consciousness seems to work the same way. No single neuron in your brain is awake, but when billions of them interact, a new level of complexity appears, and that complexity is you. So far, biology is the only system we know that can generate consciousness. However, there's no law of physics saying there can't be another way. If we're able to recreate the process of you on a silicon chip, the experience of self, in theory, should feel the same as it would in a biological carrier. If the mind truly emerges from structure and activity, then the discussion here is simply technical, artificially recreating the same process. With enough data, we could build a system that talks like you, carries all your memories, and behaves like you. However, there is one fundamental issue. If we simulate your brain and start it somewhere else, we have created a new instance. From the outside, it would look like your perfect continuation, who sincerely believes to be you. But your current stream of consciousness does not move into it. That would be just a copy, and a copy, no matter how perfect, doesn't solve the problem of death. Not from your perspective anyway. The actual goal is not to create a replica, but to avoid oblivion, to preserve the subjective feeling of, I am here, right now. If a digital version of you wakes up in a machine tomorrow, but the biological process that is listening to me right now stops, then nothing has been saved. The copy lives on, you do not. So if copying is not enough, does that mean we are forever trapped inside the body we were born in? Is that the end of the story? Not necessarily. We already know something important about identity. It survives material replacement. If you lose a limb and receive a prosthetic, you don't become a different person. The brain simply remaps itself, incorporating the artificial part till it starts feeling like your own. The same principle shows up everywhere in neuroscience. Cochlear implants, deep brain stimulation, and brain-computer interfaces work only because the brain can incorporate new components into its ongoing activity almost seamlessly. Now, extend that logic. Instead of copying the brain, what if you replaced it gradually? Not all at once, but piece by piece, the way limbs are replaced with bionic parts. Imagine replacing small clusters of neurons with synthetic analogs while the rest of the brain remains active. The ongoing activity simply incorporates new components. If identity is a running process, then gradual replacement doesn't break the sense of self. It just changes the underlying substrate. This may sound radical, but consider split brain cases, where the connection between the two hemispheres is severed. In such patients, both hemispheres can remain conscious and operate in parallel, producing two separate identities. They can make independent decisions and even compete for control of the same body. The result is not the destruction of identity, but its fragmentation. This proves that the self isn't an indivisible soul. It's a distributed process that can reorganize and survive dramatic changes. The challenge, as usual, is engineering. Think of it as migrating a live website to a new server without ever taking it offline. The user never notices a difference, but eventually, the old server is gone, and the system is running entirely on the new one. To simulate natural processes inside a bionic brain would require machines that don't just calculate, but behave like biological tissue, massively parallel and self-modifying. And we don't yet have this technology. In the near future, possibly decades, we may see better brain-computer interfaces, better integration between biological and artificial systems. A century or more out, partial neural replacement might become thinkable in medical contexts. If consciousness is really an emergent system, then the only way to preserve it is to keep it running while its substrate changes beneath it. This is the narrow path to true immortality. It's not about making a copy of the music, but about keeping the music playing while slowly replacing the instruments one by one.